it's time for me to give my bangs a little trim. A few of you have been asking for a video on how I do this, which would just make some of my friends laugh their heads off because they've seen me get into some really bad situations. Rhythm riot, anyone? But anyway, I've learnt a few tricks between then and now, so I'm going to show you, I'm just going to film how I'm doing this. I'm not a professional, so please do take this with a pinch of salt. It's just how I'm going to do my bangs. So what I'm going to do is actually start by sectioning it. So I'm going to take sort of thinner lengths like this and just pin the rest out of the way. So I'm actually going to use my trusty GHDs and I'm just going to straighten everything, like poker straight as I can get it, so that I know when it comes to actually trimming that everything is the same length, because it can be quite tricky once you've got the curve of the fringe to get everything looking the same. It might look the same the first time you trim it, and then the next time you do it, the next time you wash your hair and sort your fringe out, it's just going to look wrong. So this looks absolutely crazy, look at me. So yeah, I'm just going to do this first. So one section at a time. I usually do it in 3 with my fringe. Not crazy thick, but it's not thin either, my hair. So yeah, nice and straight. Poker straight. And then the last section here. I do tend to tie my hair back actually when I'm trimming my fringe, just to get it all out of the way, and to stop me from eating into my hairline at the sides. You've got to be really careful when it comes to trimming fringes that you're not going too far up here, because then you're going to have the sides coming down here and your fringe up there, so it's not great. So I tend to tie my hair back just to keep what I don't want to cut out of the way. And you do sometimes end up with these like stray pieces, which are really annoying. So I'm just going to get them back out of my face. There we go. Right. So this is what I'm going to be trimming. Nice and straight. Right. Let's switch these babies off for a sec. Right, so now we have this beautiful style right here. I mean, I could just leave it like this, but I'm not going to. So right, another tip, use real hair scissors. Don't just go and use any old scissors. They're not great for cutting hair. Use some hair scissors. Go down to Boots, they're only about a tenner for the cheapest ones. Just get yourself a pair of hair scissors because it makes a lot of difference. Right, so I'm basically I'm just gonna follow the line that I've already got. I want to keep this curve, so I'm literally just gonna trim maybe half an inch. I mean, half an inch is a lot when it comes to a fringe, so you don't want to go too short. And obviously you can always trim more, you can't trim less, so just a little bit at a time. So I usually actually start more from the middle, like so. You just got to keep a steady hand basically as you go around. Keeping the curve going. And as I say, you don't want to be trimming into your actual hair around the sides, so I tend to kind of try and hold that out of the way if I can. Ta-da! Beautiful. I mean, that's not too bad. I'll probably just tidy it up a tiny bit. That kind of went a little bit out there. But that's not looking too bad. I'm going to go over this again once I've beveled it and got the curve back, just to make sure it's looking nice and neat. Up the side. Again, just making sure you're not going into that hairline too much. It's also quite tricky. The tricky thing I find about trimming fringes, oh, got it in my mouth, is that it's you've got to use the same hand. So you're doing like half of it this way and then you're doing half of it that way. So it's, you know, if you don't feel confident that you're going to get an even enough finish, I would suggest you just go and get this done professionally, because it's most places won't charge a lot if you just nip in and say you want your fringe trimmed. It's one of those things they'll just do quickly in like 5 minutes. Right, so that's about as much as I'm going to take off. I'm not going to take loads off. It's already quite short. So now I'm just going to get my GHDs back and I'm going to just bevel it, which is like where you keep it straight and then you're just going to curve the ends. So let me just get my GHDs back on. Doo-doo-doo. I've got all the hair in my mouth. Yeah. All on my face. Can't take me anywhere, can you? Can't take me anywhere. Right, I found a few little strays just there as well underneath. Quickly get rid of those. Just go around underneath, make sure I've got all those little niggly hairs. I don't want to play nice. There we go. Right, so again, I'm just going to section it off back into thirds with my fringe. I mean, you can do however many you need to. You might just need to do 2 lots, you might have to do more than 3, you might have to do 4, even 5 if you've got really thick hair. It all depends. Everyone's different. Right, so then you're literally just going to go straight and then you're just going to bevel the end. This is what I mean. Straight and then curve. Straight, curve. Side bits I kind of just go straight to the curve because I just don't, there's not enough length to have any straight. So and I find my hair's really annoying because I have like one side will like stick up and the other side just wants to sit flat. I think that's just the way it is with hair. I think it just like you have different sides do different things. Like I have one side curlier and the other side straighter. It's really irritating. But it's just one of those things you have to live with. So you do sometimes, like once I've done this, I will probably have to trim a little bit more off of one side than the other, depending on which side is sitting straight and which side's sitting flat. So that's one layer done. I'm going to bring the next layer down. I mean, you can use different things for this. I'm just using a couple of bobby pins, but you can use like one of those claw clips or some pin curl clips, anything that's just going to hold it out of the place, out of the way basically. So straight and then bevel. And you want to kind of join it in with the layer underneath so that it's not kind of sitting on top of that layer, if you know what I mean. You want it to kind of blend in. So I'm actually just doing it kind of all together now. There we go. And now the final layer. Yeah, so when I was at Rhythm Riot, it was so funny because the first night we were there, I put like a hair turban and a hair scarf on my head, but it made my fringe look really, my fringe did need a trim anyway, but once I put the headscarf on, it made my fringe look really, really wonky. So I stupidly decided to give it a trim whilst I was wearing the headscarf, and it all looked perfect that evening. And then the next morning, when I woke up, my fringe was just like completely different lengths, and I had to trim it more. I think I ended up trimming it about 3 times over the weekend, and it was just getting shorter and shorter. And I just had to like tell my roommates to just not let me anywhere near the scissors anymore, so I couldn't trim it. So it was quite funny if you were there. So yeah, do not trim your hair when you've got a headscarf on or anything like that. Just make sure it's 100% down and nothing's getting in the way of the trimming lengths. Right, so that's my final beveling, and there you have my fringe, my new fringe. So I'm just going to quickly give that a little brush just to make sure it's all sitting nicely. So this side's always a little bit annoying how it blends in with my hair. So you should end up with something along those lines. I mean, obviously you can have it more curved or you can have it straighter. It all depends what look you're going for. I quite like the sort of Bettie Page sort of curved fringe. So yeah, now as you can see, I do have a few bits that aren't quite in line. So now that I've styled it, I'm just going to quickly go along, just tidy up all those little niggly bits that aren't quite where they should be. It's not too much. You don't want to go crazy because obviously next time you straighten and bevel your fringe, it could be slightly different. So you don't want to drive yourself potty because it won't be the same every time you style it. It's going to change. So I tend to, like, if I need it to look nice and I've just styled it and it's not quite right, I'll just get the scissors out and just quickly trim like this and just straighten it up. So there you go, there's my new bangs. I don't think they're too bad. That's definitely an improvement on November when we were in a rhythm riot. I think my friends would agree. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed it. Do let me know if you've got any questions. Happy to answer, although, as I say, I'm not a professional, so this is just how I do it. Okay, so thanks for watching. Bye.